welcome back to a brand new stream. Welcome back to Next Day Thoughts, of course, where we go through everything that happened in the previous game, of course, against Nottingham Forest this time, and we go through what Daniel Farke had to say after the game. I'm just going to have to make sure my audio is working before we start, because I don't want to be... Okay, the audio is working, so we are here. We're a bit earlier than what I was originally going to schedule the stream for, because I just wanted to actually do it now, because I want to watch the game later between Scum and Spurs, because I want to go watch that game a bit later. So... yeah, we're here, and we're basically just going to go through what Daniel Farke had to say, and then we've got a few players we're going to talk about, performances we're going to talk about, a lot about Ilya Gruev, who was absolutely phenomenal, so a bit of a Ilya Gruev glaze session going on this stream. We're about to talk and praise the Bulgarian brute a bunch in this stream, and yeah, let's get into it. Let's just start what Daniel Farke had to say after our performance against Nottingham Forest. So, after the game against Nottingham Forest, what Daniel Farke had to say was... We know we have the best support in the country. That's true. And Ellen Road can rock like nowhere else. Also true. Speaking just facts. The players feel even more comfortable, especially after promotion. Important to make this a fortress. And we said that before the season started. You know, we spoke about how it was a fortress in the Championship, and what we have to do is try and make it a fortress in the Premier League. And our home form is what's going to keep us up in the Premier League. And we all said that. And that's exactly what's happened. Our home form has put us into this position where I think it's 22 out of our 29 points have come at home. So most of our points this season have come at home. Our home form has been amazing. We've only lost a couple of games at home this season. Of course, Villa, Spurs, and Arsenal. And they're the only three I think we've lost this season at Ellen Road. And it's great to have this great home record that we need to continue, hopefully, for the rest of the season. We spoke about that before the season, about the home record, of course, and how massive it is in the Premier League. And it's been massive for us this season. The atmosphere's got us over the line in multiple games at home. The record under the lights as well, I'm pretty sure it's 22 games. It's like 22 games, I think, and we've got like 19 wins, 3 draws. It's something like that. It's like 20 wins, 3 draws. It must be 20 wins, 3 draws, something like that. But we've got a very good home record under the lights. Daniel Farke went on to say then, to show in the last minute the still and desire to bring it over the line and to reward ourselves, it's something more perfect than just the easy 4-0 or 5-0. It will be a lot for our confidence, belief spirit within the group, a massive performance and a massive win, which is true. A massive performance, a massive win. And conceding that goal at the end probably makes the players also go, we have to concentrate for the whole game. You know, we have to concentrate for the full 90 minutes. Because we do lack that, you know, in games where we are clear and it's like, oh, we're going to win this game. We do, you know, we kind of go a bit lazy. We're a bit sloppy towards the end of games when we know we've got it won. And normally we concede a goal from that. But yeah, that's all Daniel Farke had to say. There was one thing else he had to say, and it was about Ilya Gruev, which we'll get into that later when I'm speaking about Ilya Gruev, which I think is coming up soon. But yeah, here's the record. Leeds United's record with Daniel Farke under the lights at Ellen Road. Kickoff starting 7:45 p.m. or later. We played, that's it, played 21, 18 wins, 3 draws, 0 losses. So that record at home is massive under the lights. And yes, the difference basically under the lights at Ellen Road. I mean, you know, we've been very good at Ellen Road in general, but just under the lights where it seemed like a different team. We just seem very, very good under the lights. Normally at Ellen Road, we're very good, but it feels like we have that extra level when it's under the lights, which, can we play every single game in the league under the lights at Ellen Road? Would win the Premier League, but yeah. That's our record under the lights, which is massive to have. And we'll get into what Daniel Farke now had to say about Ilya Gruev. So Daniel Farke on Gruev. Okafor was more offensive than Stack in our change. But that's why he brought Okafor in instead of like a Tanaka or something, because he wanted to be more attacking in this game. This week, Ilya looked unbelievably sharp. So reliable, always get a 7 out of 10, and that's true. I mean, I've always said that he always gets like a 6, 7 out of 10. It just feels like he's never had really a bad performance. Like, he was getting so much like hate for the Arsenal game, even though every single player was bad. But he don't really remember a poor performance he's had where he's the only bad performer. Like, he's someone that when we perform, he'll always be a 6 out of 10 in that area of like, you won't really speak about him because he'll do the simple things really well. But he never has like this amazing performance. And Daniel Farke went on to say after that, tonight was a close to a 10. And I agree, that's why I gave him a 9.5. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. And I thought he's basically, you know, he made it more comfortable than what it probably would have been against Forest this game. If we didn't have Gruev in the team and we did start Longstaff like a lot of people wanted, maybe we don't get this comfortable win, because when you look at Longstaff when he did come on, he was just slicing. He just seemed to be too rash at times and just got beat. Like there was 3, 4, 5 times where he just got beat because he tried to rush into a challenge and missed the challenge and got, they just ran right past him. He wasn't great when he came on, which is probably why he didn't start, because Fark sees them in training every single day, so he knows how fit they are and what they're capable of playing minutes-wise as well. So we do have to talk about, when people go on about Fark not starting certain players, he sees them every day. We don't, which is another thing. And Fark's always said training's massive. If you perform in training, you'll get your chance. That could be a reason. I'm not saying it is the reason, but that could be the reason for the Okafor not the Okafor, but Buonanotte not being in the squad. Maybe a bit lazy in training this week, or maybe this is just like a kick up the arse for him. Maybe he's giving him a kick up the arse, saying, "Okay, you're not guaranteed even a spot on the bench, so you're gonna have to work hard." And hopefully he does and gets into the team for the Chelsea game. And it would be completely different if we lost this game, and we'd be talking about why is Buonanotte not in the squad, why is he not on the bench. But yeah, I've seen people say things like, "Oh, he should be on the bench instead of Pirro," but you can't do that because Pirro's a striker, 2 different positions. You can't bring, like, when I look at the squad right now and I look at the bench, I'm genuinely looking at it as it's going to be one of Dan James, Nonto, or Buonanotte missing from the squad if everyone's fit. Because I just look at the squad and I go, you can't, like, different positions, you can't drop like a centre back out the bench, which we wouldn't do because we need that depth. But you know what I mean? You need that kind of position. You need that position. For me, it's Dan James, Nonto, and Buonanotte. Aronson's a guaranteed just a starter, so he's not even involved near the conversation of missing out on the squad. But yeah, it's one of those things that I'm looking at right now, and I'm seeing people say like, "Oh, he should be coming in instead of instead of Pirro," but you can't do that because Pirro's a striker, 2 different positions. Which, yeah, so I look at that and I go, you can't really do that. But yeah, also, he then went on to say we wanted to use the left half space with his left foot. So he wanted a left-footed player on the left side. He was a mix of Stoichkov and Matthias tonight. I mean, he was brilliant. I mean, I've seen a couple of people saying he was Iniesta. I said he was Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, he was phenomenal. It was probably his best performance in a Leeds shirt. Another thing on Ilya Gruev for Leeds United versus Nottingham Forest is only the 3rd player in Opta has recorded since the 2003-2004 season to complete 25 plus passes. He completed 43 and have a passing accuracy of 98% or more and registered 2 assists in a Premier League match. He was that great. Like, he was very good. 43 successful passes, only 1 unsuccessful pass, and 44 passes, 98% pass accuracy. It was brilliant. Only missing 1 pass, which he failed, and I don't remember when that was. But yeah, he was that good. Ilya Gruev last night was the first Leeds player to provide 2 assists in a Premier League game at Ellen Road, since Pablo Hernandez did back in 2020 December against Newcastle. That's the first time we've seen a player get 2 assists in a game for Leeds United in the Premier League since December 2020. And not bad company to be around, is it, Pablo Hernandez? So yeah, that's great. We'll get into some stats now. We'll just talk through some stats. We'll get through some of these. Leeds United points in the 25-26 season before the December 11th. Before December, it was 11. Leeds United points in the 25-26 season since December 18. Since December 18. So we've got more points from December, January, February than the first part of the season, which is massive. Daniel Farke deserves some credit for turning it around, which he has massively turned this around. Daniel Farke has now won 7 of his 25 Premier League games at Leeds, 1 more than he managed in 49 matches at Norwich City. It's almost like when you give a manager players that are good enough for the Premier League that he can do a job. It's almost like when you give a manager players who are Premier League level and good enough for the Premier League, they can actually perform in the Premier League. It's a shock, really, when you spend money and you can actually build a squad that's good enough that the manager, you can go, oh, the manager actually isn't that bad. It was just that the Norwich team was dog shit. Like, the people before the season started that were hammering, saying we need to get rid of Farke, he's not going to do it in the Premier League, he'll never be good enough to even keep us up in the Premier League, because they based it off Norwich, which that team was so bad. Besides like a couple of players like Timo Pukki, Todd Cantwell, most of that team was awful. Most of that team was not Premier League level. They were mostly Championship players, so it's not a shock that Farke didn't manage to get many wins with them. And yeah, that's one thing that annoyed me at the start of the season when people said we need to get rid of Farke, because they tried to say, oh, he'll do what he did at Norwich with Leeds, but that was never going to happen. He was always going to do better with us than what he did with Norwich. But yeah, Opta then tweeted out 76%. Leeds United have earned 76% of their Premier League points this season at Ellen Road, 22 out of 29, which is what I was talking about earlier. We've got 22 out of our 29 Premier League points at home. The highest the highest proportion at home of any side in the division. Yeah. So basically, we're the best home team when it comes from points won. How many of those have been at home? Like, we've got the highest percentage of the amount of points we've won at home compared to the away games. And you can see that when we play away, we're a bit more defensive and we try and get like a point away from home, which I can see why. We're at home, we especially under the lights against any team that's not really one of the big teams, like besides Arsenal and like a Man City. I know they're coming up soon, but even the Man City game, I'm confident we can get a couple of goals, and I think that'll be a very entertaining game, just like it was at the Etihad. I think it will be. And yeah, hopefully we can get Mitchell fit for that game so he can play that front two again, because I think that works against Man City. But yeah, DCL becomes the first Englishman to score 10 league goals in their first season with Leeds since Matt Smith in the 2013-2014 season, which he got 12 in the championship. Let's see. Anything else? Any other cool stats? Any other stats? Of course, Bogle got given the actual man of the match, which I was surprised because I think it should have went to Gruev because I think he was absolutely brilliant. And yeah, I thought Gruev should have got the actual man of the match. Bit harsh. This is it. Gruev's performance against Nottingham Forest. We'll go through it. 98% pass accuracy. We talked about 58 touches. Of course, we talked about 44 out of 45 successful passes. 11.51 K's distance covered. So yeah, he covered a lot of ground. He always does. Like, he's a player that covers a lot of ground, but you don't normally notice it. You know, he's one of those players that he covers a lot of ground, but you don't really notice it because he's not like, I don't know how to put it. He's not like an Aronson, you know, but he covers a lot of ground, but you don't normally notice it because it's mostly like stopping that passing option, or like, I mean, he pressed a bunch in this game, and he presses a bunch in a, you know, there's a lot of games where he presses a lot, and that's why I can see why Daniel Farke likes him, because Aronson will press firstly, and then if they go to the other side, Gruev will start pressing and pushing up towards that player, that next player. Gruev does a lot of pressing that I don't think people actually notice how much pressing he actually does. And it's one of those things about he kind of goes under the radar for that kind of part of his game, which is why I can see why Farke likes him, because he's a presser. He presses without you really noticing. But yeah, he had 4 chances created, which I think was the most in the game. 4 ball recoveries, 2 big chances created, 2 assists. 2 clearances, 2 shots, 1 interception. Great performance from Gruev. Ilya Gruev becomes only the sixth different Leeds player to register 2 assists in a single Premier League match at Ellen Road since 2000, which was Gruev, Pablo, Lee Boyer, and it just disappeared. I just lost it. My screen just disappeared. Why did it just okay, you just don't want to show me anyway. Yeah, but that's a good list to be around for Ilya Gruev. You know, 2 assists is always going to be, you know, you're always going to have a great performance with the 2 assists. I mean, the first one was incredible. Like, the first one's like, as I said, De Bruyne-esque in my watch along and my review. But yeah, that was unbelievable. The second one's just a good pass. If you watch the first one, he doesn't even look up. Like, he doesn't even look up. He's looking down at the ball and just smashes it. There's a clip of with the pass and the way he's looking at the ball, the way he hits the ball. It's the way he hits the ball. He hits it inch perfect as well in the right area for Bogle to score. We'll go through some other players' performances and talk about them, because there's some other players that deserve some shout-outs in this team for this performance. One of them, the goalkeeper, Carl Darlow, who I thought was brilliant. I thought Carl Darlow's performance was great, especially after the performance against Arsenal, and I thought Perry was going to come back in, to be honest, in this game, because I thought Darlow wasn't great. He kind of punched it into his own net, and you're like, do you replace him in this game and give Perry a chance again? Farke decides to keep Darlow in as the goalkeeper for this game, and Darlow, again, was, as I said, was brilliant and made up for last week's game against Arsenal by performing this well. He made some great saves. There was one save he made at 0-0, which was a massive save. Yeah, that was a massive save that he made at 0-0. Let me try and get these goalkeeping stats up. We'll get some stats up. But yeah, he kept us in the game at 0-0. He made a couple of good saves. There was a couple of chances they had near the end where they could have brought it back to 3-2. They could have made it 3-1 before they made it 3-1 as well, and it was a good save. But that game could have legit been 3-2 with like 4 or 5 minutes to go if he didn't make a couple of those saves, and we could have been in trouble, you know, nail-biting settings after being 3-0 up, almost, you know, conceding a couple of goals and being in a bit of trouble. Without Darlow's couple of great saves, we could have been in that position where we were just trying to hold on for a 1-goal lead when we were already 3-0 up. So yeah, we almost got in that moment, but Darlow was brilliant in goal. Passing accuracy, he had a 70%, which is, you know, that's good. 28 out of 40. Passing in the opposition half, he had 4 out of 15. which was 27%. Passes in his own half with 24 out of 25, 96%. Long balls accurate was 5 out of 17, which was 29%. He had 59 touches, 51 touches. It says our possession loss must be if he plays a pass and doesn't. Yeah, I mean, it says he lost the ball for 12 times. Let me just check and see. He had 1 clearance. I mean, he's a goalkeeper. 8 recoveries. Is there any? Where's the goalkeeping stats? Where is the goalkeeping stats? So no, like, here we go. Sorry, this is the one. This is the goalkeeping stats. So he had 5 saves. Goals prevented 0.49. Saves from inside the box 4. Punches 0. Runs out successful 1 out of 1. So yeah, and 0 high claims. But yeah, he did very well, Carl Darlow. And solid in net. You know, I think Carl Darlow will probably be our goalkeeper for the rest of the season. I don't think Perry will be our goalkeeper in the Premier League at all this season. I feel like we're going to try and sell him at the end of it and try and get most of our money back for him. I just feel like that's going to happen because Darlow's a good backup to have. And I just feel like you look at him and you go, maybe we wasted the money on Perry. I mean, you look at the Perry signing in the first place. The board didn't want him, Fark didn't want him, and then they kind of met in the middle because he was available. So it wasn't even a signing we wanted. But then you watch highlights from Perry, you know, the game against PSG that went around Twitter in the last couple of days. He was brilliant. You know, he's had some very good performances in his career, so I don't doubt that he's a good goalkeeper. He's just not really started well for Leeds United. Maybe Fark just gives him the rest for the rest of the season. He plays the cup games, and maybe he gets a fresh start next season as our number 1. Or maybe we go into the market for another goalkeeper. People will be angry if we don't go in the market for another goalkeeper, but I don't know if Fark goes. Well, Darlow's done well this season, so I'll back Darlow to be back up again next season. We have a refresh and maybe give Perry another season and see if he adapts to the Premier League. Maybe it takes him a season to learn to adapt to the Premier League. Some players don't hit the ground running. When it's a goalkeeper, you want the goalkeeper, you know, you want your goalkeeper to hit the ground running, but sometimes that doesn't always happen, and sometimes it might take a while for the keeper to get, even a goalkeeper to get up to speed with the Premier League. The difference of the shots in the Premier League compared to other leagues around the world, the power of shots, the difficulty of saving some shots compared to other leagues, and that is another thing. And maybe he just needs a season to learn that, and maybe he gets another chance in the next season. Either that, or we do sell him, and we just take the loss and we try and get as much money as we can. Because I don't think we're going to sell him for more than what we bought him for, but try and get it around that mark so we don't lose much. But yeah. Other performances that I liked in this game, I thought James Justin was very good. I liked his performance. We'll go through some of his stats. I mean, James Justin's been brilliant for us. I like this guy. As I said in my review, I don't know how you can, you know, for me, he should be starting. But then when Biel's back, I don't know how he does start, which is only a good thing to have. So you're going to have a player who's very good, who you could argue should be starting on the bench, which is what you need in the Premier League, because you need depth on the bench of players that you could go, oh, it's harsh, he could be starting in the Premier League. You know, that's what you want on the bench. You want players that are good enough to start in the Premier League on your bench. And James Justin just feels like one of those at the moment, because I don't know if he starts ahead of Goodmanson. I mean, he's given his best chance of starting ahead of Goodmanson, but Goodmanson's been great as well, you know, performance-wise, he's been very good. Because when BL comes back, it's Struck, BL Rodon again, and we're going to go back to that back 3. And it just feels like I don't know where James Justin's going to fit in, where James Justin's going to start for us. So it just feels like he's going to be on the bench, which is harsh, but it's good to have options on the bench of depth. You need depth of Premier League quality starting players on your bench, which just makes your team even better. You know, get a couple of more of those type of players in other positions, and you know, you build your squad and you make your squad even better. I thought he had a good game. Of course, he got the assist. James Justin, 6 defensive contributions, 1 tackle, 1 out of 2, 2 interceptions, 2 clearances. Ground duels, he won 5 out of 6. Aerial duels, he won 3 out of 4. 1 foul. Big chances created. He created 3 big chances, 4 key passes. 3 out of 4 accurate passes. Accurate crosses. He had accurate passes of 45 out of 58, which is 78%. Passes in opposition half of 13 out of 20, 65%. Passes in own half of 32 out of 38, 84%. Long balls was 1 out of 6, so his long balls weren't great, 17%. But those were more just get it long and try and find DCL. Touches 81, 1 dribble which was successful. He was fouled twice, lost the ball 17 times. Total carrying distance of 112.7 meters. He had 10 carries, progressive carries 1, And yeah, just an all-round good performance from him. I thought he was brilliant. Jaden Bogle, of course. Oh my god. Jaden Bogle, of course, got man of the match. And I thought he was great as well. I thought he was a very, very good player on the pitch. As I said, I would have gave a Gruev because I think he was the best player on the pitch. But there's a couple of players you can actually look at and say, wow, they were actually. There's a couple of players you can look at and say you could argue man of the match. You know, there's a bunch of them you could argue man of the match, and that is Gruev, Bogle, James Justin. I feel like those three are the main three. Even Brendan Aronson, I don't know if he should be like man of the match, but he's like that tier just below of like, you weren't in the contention for man of the match, but you still were brilliant. And yeah, Jaden Bogle, as I said, a great performance from him. Played 89 minutes, got a goal with an XG of 0.64. One cross, which was accurate. 32 out of 35 accurate passes with 91%. 19 out of 21 in his passes in opposition half, 19 out of 21, which was 90%. He then also had passes in his own half, 13 out of 14, 93%. Total shots 1. Expected goals on target 0.87. Shots on target 1. Offsides 1. 59 touches. Unsuccessful touches 3. He had 8. He's lost the ball 8 times. Total carrying distance of 76.5. Carries 9. Progressive carries 2. And just an all-round great performance. Defensive contribution 7. 4 tackles 1 out of 5. That's good. 1 interception, 1 clearance, 1 recovery, 5 ground duels, 1 out of 8. 0 aerial duels, 1 out of 3, but that doesn't really matter. And gave away 1 foul and got drilled past 0 times. I thought he was great. We'll get into now some of the attackers. We'll get into Okafor, who was another player that could have been man of the match. Catching alive. What happened last night was we had a keeper just doing his job, and yeah, exactly. Darlow just did his job. I mean, he was brilliant. You know, he made some very good saves where other weeks you'd be questioned, probably go in the back of the net. He made some good saves. The one that I'm most impressed with was the one at 0-0 where you have to like palm it to the side, because if he just hits it in front, it's a tap in for Gibbs White, and he had to palm it just around for I think it was out for a corner. Yeah, around for a corner. Darlow just did his job well, which is what you want to see from your goalkeeper. And that's what he is. He's a backup Premier League keeper that will make mistakes occasionally, but on other nights, occasionally, he'll have a great performance like this. So he'll have great performances, but then he'll have a couple of bad, making some errors, you know, we can see goals. And that's why he's not really a Premier League starting level goalkeeper, because he has those errors in him. But he can have very good performances like this where he looks like a Premier League level goalkeeper. So yeah, Okafor looks very dangerous on the ball, and like that's something I've never not said. I've always said he looks dangerous on the ball when he gets it. When he's running with it, he always looks like he's going to beat his man. He always looks dangerous. Of course, he got the 1 goal with an XG of 0.77. It was a pretty simple finish, just into the corner, into like an open net. He had 3 shots with an expected goals on target of 0.98. 1 shot on target, 1 block shot, 1 big chance missed. 40 touches, unsuccessful touches 3. Dribbles, he had 2 successful out of 3. He was fouled once. Possession lost 10 times. Total carrying distance of 151.5. Carries, he had 12. Progressive carries, he had 3. And yeah, just overall performance-wise, I thought he was very good. Like, he's always that kind of player that you always expect that from Okafor. Like, he has that when you're on the eye. He has that eye, you know, when you talk about the eye test and you watch Okafor, he has those skills that, like, are very difficult to defend. It's just about getting that end product, really. Like, him beating his man and causing some trouble and getting into the dangerous area wasn't the problem. It was his crossing and his finishing that's been letting him down. Still, in this game, it did let him down. There was a moment early on where he just blazed it over the bar. I think there was a shot that was saved, or like it deflected around or something, and it just dropped him, and he took forever. He took a touch and then let it bounce and just skied it. It's that thing of like, he still can improve a lot. Like, he's not at his best yet. And I think he will improve because he has that technical ability. But yeah, I thought he was brilliant. The other player who I thought was great as well is Brendan Aronson. He got the absolute shit kicked out of him in this game. God. I mean, he got booted in the chest. He got booted in the knee. That somehow wasn't a reckless challenge and a red card. I counted 13 or 14 times where he got fouled and the ref gave him like 1 free kick. Like, he should have had 13 free kicks in this game. He got absolutely kicked. He looked like an old school footballer, like just mud. His old kit was covered in mud at halftime. He got a new one, and then by him coming off, he was covered in mud again. He was brilliant. Like, it's that performance, you know, it's a different type of performance. Aronson now, even when he doesn't get G&A and he doesn't score, get an assist, and you look at this and having expected goals of 0.21 or expected assists of 0.04, he looks like a Premier League footballer when you watch him now. His improvement is amazing to see, and it's great to see his improvement because he just looks like a Premier League footballer now. And all the hard work he does, I mean, that's something we've never said he doesn't have, is the hard work, the pressing, the everything that he brings. And I just feel like he's bringing more he's bringing physicality to his game as well. He knows how to use his body to get in front of the ball, and he got, as I said, he got the absolute shit kicked out of him in this game, and I'm surprised he didn't get injured at some points, especially that smash to the one to the knee. I was like, oh my god, that's a bad tackle. That's a red card. I do not know how VAR doesn't look at that and say that's reckless. He just booted him, and he's not even going for the ball. I think it was Sangari, not even going for the ball. Or was it? It might have been Anderson. I don't even know who it was, but anyway, he wasn't even going for the ball, and he just got absolutely booted in the knee. I mean, the one in the chest, the ball is like near the chest, so you can argue, or you can say it's just a free kick. The ref said play on. He got booted in the chest, and the ref said play on. And so confusing. He had 52 touches. He had 2 shots blocked. That was I don't even remember what shots they were. He had 52 touches, 5 unsuccessful touches, successful in 2 out of 3 of his dribbles. He was fouled 6 times, so he was fouled 6 times. I don't remember him getting 6 free kicks. I remember like 1 or 2, to be honest. I do not remember them giving him 6 free kicks. He got booted. How many times they didn't give him one? He lost the ball 16 times. You could argue 10 of those times were probably from him getting hit where it should have been a free kick. Total carrying distance of 181.5. Carries of 15. Progressive carries of 1. And just overall, his performance was very good. And it wasn't like one of those performances where you look at him, you don't look at him in this performance as like a, attacking dangerous, looking like he's going to score. I mean, he was involved, and he was great for the second goal where he did that turn and gave it into James Justin, who had that shot. Leeds is saying he has a rib injury. No wonder with that ref. He had last night very poor performance. Yeah, the ref was poor. I was really worried he was going to get injured badly. Yeah, what is it? Is it a rib injury? I heard something like it was a bruise. I don't know if that's like, I haven't seen anything, like I haven't seen any actual quotes. But what I've heard, I heard something like it was a bruise. So it shouldn't be that bad. It should be just like a bruise. So he should be fit for the next game, hopefully. I mean, Aronson's one of those players that he could probably continue playing, even if he, like, he's the type of player that will continue playing with like broken ribs. Like, he's that type of player for me when I've watched him, especially the new Brendan Aronson 2.0. Brilliant. And yeah, performance-wise, you look at DCL, and he's, the stats don't really say he was great, but very difficult leading the line by himself. I thought Aronson did a good job of being with him, which is something that we haven't had recently, and we haven't done recently. DCL's been a bit isolated in a couple of games, but I thought Aronson was well with him, which is what we need more of. Which is why I feel like he's not fully fit yet, so he probably won't start, but I'd love to see a DCL and Nemecha front 2 again. But then it's like, what do you do with the midfield? Do you drop Okafor because he's not a number 8, and then you play a midfield 3 of Ampadu, Aronson, and Gruev? Because after this performance, Gruev can't be dropped. But yeah, you feel like Okafor, that's harsh on Okafor because he was great. But it's one of those things about it's great to have a squad like this. I mean, I'm hoping Aronson's fine for the next game. I mean, we'll find that out in the press conference. We'll see if anything was said about it. I'll see if anything... did anyone say anything about it? Yeah, I've not seen anything properly about the injury, but I guess we'll find out probably in the press conference. There's been new stats. James Justin's performance. I mean, James Justin, we just spoke about, was great. Here's some more stats for him: 81 touches, 45 58 successful passes, 11 point where is it? 8 duels won. He won 8 of his duels. 5 passes into the final third. 4 chances created. 3 big chances created. 3 opposition box touches. 3 out of 4 aerial duels won. 2 interceptions, 2 clearances, 2 shots, 1 out of 1 successful take-ons, and 1 assist. I thought James Justin was brilliant. You look at the couple of those performances, and you look at like the top tier performances, and you look at like Gruev, Darlow, Bogle. And then, like, just underneath, you have, like, an Okafor, an Aronson, a DCL, Ampadu. Even, like, no one really had a bad performance. The one that may be a bit shaky at times was probably Strauch. But I thought he was still good. I thought there was a couple of times where there was a moment where, like, he'll header it straight up in the air and you'll be like, God, just get it out. And I thought he was good. Do you think Forest or West Ham could sack their manager soon? I think it's great for us if it happens. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Forest are more likely. I feel like Forest are more likely to sack their manager than anyone. I don't think West Ham do. I just have a feeling they don't. I mean, hopefully Burnley win. Come on, Burnley. Or at least get a point. Come on, Burnley. But yeah, hopefully that happens. But yeah, I don't know. I think Nottingham Forest are more likely to sack their coach than yeah, Dyche is more likely to be sacked, in my opinion. I just don't think West Ham will do that. But I feel like Forest will be like, no, we need to stay in the Premier League. We spent all this money on all these players after getting into Europe, blah, blah, blah. We can't go down. You know, I mean, them going down after getting Europe is a disaster, but it looks like it could happen. I mean, you look at even above that, you know, Palace aren't out of it. Spurs aren't out of it. Like, if we're not out of it, Spurs and Palace aren't out of it at the moment. I genuinely think we're going to kind of, like, this game was massive because of our next three fixtures that are very difficult. Like, we've got 3 difficult fixtures coming up. But yeah, this game was massive to get that gap because of our next 3 games. Because I could generally see us getting 0 points in the next 3 games. And that's not, like, negative. That's just me being honest and looking at the teams we're playing. Chelsea, who have found form under their new manager and have been brilliant. We've got Aston Villa, who is always going to be a tough game. A very tough game for us. And then we got, like, who do we have after that? Jeez, we have, let me actually see. Oh, I think our next, like, we have Man City, don't we? Yeah, then we got Man City. So Chelsea, Villa, City in our next 3 that's another reason why we need to win this more because of our next 3 fixtures and how difficult they were. And if we didn't beat Forest and we lost, it would be more of like pressure to win one of the next 3 in more difficult games. And even after City, you know, we got Sunderland, which, you know, Sunderland under the lights as well, so that's good. And then we got Crystal Palace, which could prove to be a game where we're still very close to each other and we could jump above them. I will not bring myself to watch the Burnley West Ham game. I will be enjoyed to the full. Yeah, I do think they win though. Like, I do think West Ham win, but Burnley at home are decent. Like, Burnley at home are still decent defensively. They're not as good as last season, of course, but they're still a team. And this is massive for, you know, it's massive for both of them. I mean, it is massive for West Ham, but you look at Burnley and they'll be looking at this game as like, this is our last chance. This is our last chance. To have a chance of staying up. Like, they have to win this game, otherwise they're dead and buried. That's what they would be looking at this game as. We need to win to give ourselves a chance. I agree. I think they will go into the bottom 3. Forest will say, yeah. Yeah, and I do think, as I said, I do think West Ham win this game, but there's that thing about Burnley about this is almost like a must-win for them. Final chance of just keeping us involved and giving us the slim hope of maybe we can, you know, drag a Forest into it and drag Forest and West Ham into it and get above both of them. Like, it's not impossible if they find some form, and if they beat West Ham, that could be the start of them, you know, finding some form. It only takes 1 win, and you know, you could gain a lot of form, which is a possibility for them. But it's going to be very difficult for them if they want to stay up. But this is a massive game if they want to do it. If they want a chance, which kind of makes it even, you know, good for us to look at that and go, okay, they're going to be very, you know, they're going to be up for this game, Burnley. After saying this, they'll probably get battered like 3-4-0 after saying they should be up for this game. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the stream. I'm probably going to go watch the Scum Spurs. I'm going to go watch a Scum Spurs game, and then the Burnley West Ham game on later, because that's the other, because the other kickoff, yeah, the other kickoff Scum Spurs, and then we got Burnley West Ham later on. So yeah, I'm going to go watch those games. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Burnley do us a favour. We would have been happy with 4 points from the next 4 matches, including last night. Keeps the points a game going. So if we can get a point in the next 3, I'll be happy. I mean, I look at the Chelsea game. Very tough game away from home. You know, we speak about Ellen Road under the lights, but you know, any game away from home under the lights, anyway, away game in general is tough, and away under the lights, you know, you never know. But I think it's gonna be a tough game because I think Chelsea have, you know, new manager, they've turned it around. And then you look at Aston Villa, very tough game. You look at City, maybe Fark looks at that game of like, hopefully Lucas Metro, as I said, is fit by then so we can play the 2 up top again, because that seemed to work very well against Man City. And yeah, I mean, 4 points would be good, because that does keep our points per game. We do probably need 1 more. But then you look at, if we don't and we're 1 point behind our points per game, and then we got Sunderland and Palace, they're 2 very winnable games. So it's just about hoping that the teams around us don't get game points on us, and just staying where we are. So yeah, thank you guys for watching the stream. If you're new here, make sure you do a like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on the performance. Give me, I don't know, man of the match, something like that. Give me your thoughts. And I'll catch you guys in the next one, which will probably be maybe I'll do something tomorrow, but probably Premier League predictions. I might do something tomorrow. I might make a video or do a stream if there's anything interesting to talk about. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below about anything really about the